welcome to the Circle of Global Business Women. Good afternoon in South Africa. From other parts of the world is good evening. And thank you very much to our viewers that are watching us globally in South Africa and in the continent. We are humbled and honored as the Circle of Global Business Women. This is our last webinar. Indeed, we were in a marathon in 2021 in June, because this is our birthday month as the Circle of Global Business Women. The Circle of Global Business was founded on the 17th of June. By God's grace, we are saying hallelujah and thank you very much to these gentle giants that are going to be actually unpacking, women in global trade strategy and how women participate in the economy and how women capitalize and how women pivot themselves during the time of COVID-19 and post-COVID. It's really exciting times. If you look at where we are globally, on the 1st of March, history was written in our books. Dr. Ngozi was appointed as the first African woman Director General in the World Trade Organization. It was historic and inspiring for us as women. And there's no time better than now to make sure that women takes this rightful position and actually make sure that they lead in the trade sector globally and in the continent. And the other exciting part was the 1st of January, Africa Voila was open for trade. And women are key when you're talking about the trade protocol. And what is amazing about Africa is that if you look at the Africa Free Trade Agreement, it's the largest world trade organization in the world. We're talking about 1.3 billion population. We're talking about at an estimated GDP of 3.4 trillion USD. And this is powerful because the role of women must speak to this 3.3 combined trillion, in the African continent in terms of the Women Trade Protocol. And also we are humbled again today to showcase women that have made it in the sector, women that have actually pushed the agenda of women in the marketplace. Without wasting my time, I'm going to introduce my speakers. I have Miss Vivian Blumel, who is the content director for Green Solar Academy. She is actually based in Germany. Welcome, Sister Vivian. We're humbled and honored, as the Circle, to have you connecting from Germany. And then this is the power of connection, where I can speak from South Africa and I have my dearest sister in Germany. And also we have Miss Sonia Adelatif, the founder of Co-Easy International Trading and Business Development based in South Korea. And she's got powerful, strategies. How do women participate in the trade sector? But also she's doing a PhD, maybe she will elaborate further, which is actually opening access for opportunities for women in disadvantaged communities. And as the Circle, we are working very closely with her to make sure that we do have women in the sector that they are participating. And also we have our dearest sister, Miss Anna Simula, who is the founder of Peli Wines. She's got a very beautiful story to tell that, access to markets, they're just in your doorstep. When you start using the South African ambassadors in European countries or in the African continent, you will get your access to markets. She's got a practical example today that is to share that practical example with us. Then we have Ms. Vina Govender, who is MD of LA Consulting Engineers, but also a mentor to the Cherry Blair Foundation, who is just a powerful and a dynamite sister, who's also a director for the Circle of Global Business Women Investment Arm, but also she has traveled globally. She decided to actually take a flight and connected to that flight to go and find partners in Europe. But she will tell you about that. She took that risk, and today she's got those global connections. And this platform, we're actually making sure that we're empowering women to understand that if you have a dream, when you act on that dream, it is indeed possible. There's nothing that is going to stand on your way. Then we have Ms. Kamu Mutezo, the Chief Operating Officer for 22 on Sloan, where the Circle of Global Business Women is placed, their headquarters in South Africa, in Africa. And we're humbled and honored to be in this amazing place, Sister Kamu. She'll be able to actually startups in the ICT sector and also making sure that they're dealing with promoting, women in the space of ICT in the continent at large, in South Africa at large. Without wasting my time, I would like to call in our dearest sister who is going to be able to actually take us through. Starting from South Africa, I'll call in Miss Anna, the founder of Pelly Wines, to just talk about who is Pelly Wines. How did Pelly Wines decided to be in Europe, and what connection, and how did he find himself having, all this connection in global markets? Thank you, Anna. Please take us through.
Thank you, Sister dear Cindy. Thank you all, sisters. Pelly Wines is based in Pretoria. And Pelly is a township in Pretoria West. But the dream of making wine was ignited actually in Lagos, Nigeria, where there were lots of international wines consumed and not much interest in South African wines. But I took interest in the fact that we are in Africa. We need to be trading in Africa and then consuming each other's products. And then I came back home and studied wine in the wineland. So it does not really take anyone from the inland to not have a coastal dream. So mine is inland gone coastal. From coastal South Africa, the plan is to go global, and globally we are going because it's just within reach. It's right, like you said, it's right on our doorstep. Having started in South Africa, producing in Stellenbosch, having gone through skills development and training with the Cape Wine Academy and Stellenbosch University, I came across a lot of contacts through the studies and networking. If you don't speak it, you won't. If you don't speak it, you don't know it. You don't reach out to people. So my first contact with the international market, as I was studying, I got exposed to diplomats and our very own diplomats being posted abroad. So I got 2 invites in 1 year. And I was not ready. I felt I was not ready. I was not going to do it yet. So the following year, during Ambassador Smart Ngonyama's 3rd year in Spain, I accepted the invitation to come showcase South African wine in Spain. So I did that on the April 27th National Day. And fortunately, in Spain, there was a competition going on. A wine competition going on, and because of my qualifications, I was roped in to become one of the panelists to judge sparkling and champagne. So I did that, also showcasing South African wine, and Pelly Wines also entered the competition in still wine, white and red. So that was our first exposure to international markets and engaging in what the market is looking for. Spain is looking for something different from Germany, and Germany is looking for something else. So it's not a cast in stone, tailor-made offering that you have to think about. So each country or each market has got its own specifications, and you've got to adhere to their own requirements and their own tastes or what they're actually looking for from South Africa. So it's not all South African wine for all markets. So while in Spain, Pelly Wines won in the Sauvignon Blanc still wine category. So already 8 months into market, talking to people, giving people taste of wine, exposing it to other markets. We won
Anna.
a competition. Yes, ma'am. Yebo. Hello.
Your network? Yes, I can
My
hear you. Continue.
My network is right at my doorstep.
Okay.
Like you said.
Okay.
Network is people I've studied with, people who know wine and are able to share the knowledge. People are diplomats. It's people we engage with, and it's people that go through the international airport where Peli Wines is also based. At retail space, you take South African wine out to the world.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a difficult task to engage people. You just be where the right people are, network, talk to people, make a lot of as much tastings as you can make, talk through, and it's very important to know your product. Yeah. Very important to know your product. Empower yourself as much as possible. It's not just pretty face talking wine type of engagement. You need to be behind the counter and represent your country. Representing South African wines generally. So access to markets, Cindy, is very crucial and important. And Wines of South Africa already has identified the 5 top international markets for South African wines, which is the UK, Germany, the US, Sweden, and the Netherlands. So our priority, let's start there, not neglecting our own motherland. So we still need to go back to Nigeria. We've made, with our networks in Nigeria, we still can go back and make contact, make a South African palate favorable to the world. So that is my story. The storyline is, it does not take anyone from the coastal to be able to be interested and have passion in wine. I mean, it took me from Attersville, from a government official space, to just follow my passion and expose myself to other interests that I have, you know? So it's not just about not following your passion. Follow your passion, learn the skill, engage a lot, get the right people, network, engage with like-minded people like yourself and the circle of global women to get South African products abroad.
Yeah.
We're still looking for broader market space. Generally, anywhere in the world, Tanzania, Nigeria, Kenya are potential market spaces for Peli wines. In fact, though COVID-19 and restrictions prevented a lot of trading locally and internationally, the market is rising up and we are exploring other markets, and we are able to trade now, especially export, and locally you're still able to trade, although restricted, but the export market is the biggest market we can tap into.
Anna?
Yebo.
Yes, are you finished?
Yes, I think I am finished. If you have any questions for me, I'll gladly engage further.
The questions will come back later as we wrap up and with all our speakers. And thank you very much for this powerful presentation, which is really authentic. And if you listen to what Sister Anna said, education is very important. She actually went to Cape Town to actually learn about wines in the Cape Wine Academy at the Stellenbosch University. so that she can be an expert, so that she can compete globally and understand the product. So it's very important for us as women, when we penetrate the marketplace, when we're going to go and trade in the marketplace, we need to have a product. And the way that we need to actually market ourselves is to understand the product so that we can compete globally. Now we're talking about Peli wines that is in Italy, Peli wines that is in Spain, Peli wines all going to France. We are also looking at opening that access to markets for Sister Anna in France, so that Peli wines would be also in France and to any other part of the world globally. So here we are as African women talking about exporting our own product, and we need to elevate one another in the marketplace and support each other in the marketplace. Now, talking about a South African woman who has made it in the wine industry, Sister Now we're talking about the African continent. We're talking about baby of ours. Such opportunities where Sister can just call somebody in Nigeria and say, please, can you take my product to the market? And how do we make sure that we get the likes of Afrexim Bank to support Sis Anna to make sure that her product gets into the marketplace in the continent? Also with the work that you're doing in the continent and in the continent, to hand over to you so that we can take it, and can come together, great things happen. And that's the reason why we're having this international, it's open eyes to women globally and also in the continent. And global women are waiting for us. I've got great excitements and great announcements that I'm going to make, right at the end of this program. But I'm giving it to our dearest sisters to take us through. Thank you, Sister Gamu.
Awesome. I'll start off by greeting everyone who's watching from home and all over the world. So I'm Gamu, the Chief Operations Officer at 22 & Sloan. So just to set the context, there's an organization called the Global Entrepreneurship Network, right? And it has a footprint in over 173 countries. So as 22 & Sloan, we are the headquarters of Gen Africa, and we have a footprint in over 43 African countries. Yes, Cindy. And the rationale behind an organization such as 22 & Sloan is that it should be for startups by startups. When it was launched in 2017, the idea was to create an enabling ecosystem where aspiring as well as current businesses can find all the products, services, capacity development, support that they require. And one of those key elements was ensuring that we establish a strong network, not just within South Africa, but across the continent. And what this entails means engaging private sector, public sector, individuals, NGOs, NPOs, anyone and everyone within the space of entrepreneurship, such that we're able to provide an easier flow of knowledge, easier flow of access to market. Sometimes you hear that a startup or a business is looking to fundraise, and they'll have 17 tabs open on their laptop, wondering, okay, should I apply here? Should I? It becomes so much, right? So if organizations such as 22 & Sloan or Gen Africa aim to have this collation of partners under one roof. Now, the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement is quite an exciting initiative for us, more so because we're always looking out for opportunities where the entrepreneurs can actually contribute. A lot of research, which I've been reading over the past few days, indicates that small businesses and medium-sized businesses have the capability and ability to contribute towards either a national or local economic development. But there's a need to have the capacity development and the knowledge sharing in a more centralized space, easier to access. So we ensure that whatever conversations that are taking place, we disseminate that information, identify opportunities, and alert the entrepreneurs. That's one element. And the second element is then looking within our Gen network. Let me use Sis Anna as an example. If she's interested to penetrate Tanzania, we do have what we call a managing director for GEN Tanzania. And it becomes easier to start those conversations. And one of the things that I love about that is Africans are very hospitable. So when you're able to say, hey, Sis Anna, meet Tom or meet Wanjiru, they'll be able to offer you a lot more guidance. You feel at home because that's our nature. So I can go on and on, but I hope that provides a little essence of who we are and why we do what we do when it comes to entrepreneurship, development, and networking across the continent. Thank you, Sis Cindy.
Thank you very much, Gamu, for this powerful presentation and the connection of 43 countries in the continent. And we're humbled and honored as the Circle of Global Businesswomen to be here at 22 on Sloan so that we can exploit those connections as women entrepreneurs so that we can spread our wings and fly in the continent, so that when you're talking about the implementation of the Africa Free Trade Agreement, women excel. And I personally believe that when you're looking at our governments across the continent, through the Women Trade Protocol, for us women to thrive in the marketplace. And it's our time now to rise and take our rightful position and make sure that we thrive in any market environment through trade. And remember, in the past, when you're talking about trade, we always used to see men wearing these black suits and white shirts and ties, hey? And you'd understand that they mean it. But now they've given us the space as their sisters, as women, to participate in the trade environment and make sure that we thrive. And this is an opportunity, because if you look at the World Trade Organization is an example where we have Dr. Ngozi. If you look at the Africa Free Trade Agreement, we have our dear His Excellency Wamgele Mene, us as a women organization to say, come on board, Cindy, come and help me. I want women to be in the forefront in Africa when we're talking about the implementation. Come, let us build the Africa we want. And women are critical, and hence having this webinar so that we'll be able to share, such experiences of women that are doing amazing things in Africa and in the continent. Now I'm going to move over to our dearest sister, Vino Govender, who is doing amazing things as well in Africa and also in Europe. The connection that she has made traveling all over the world. But what is amazing about what she does is actually the global networks that takes women to another level. She's a mentor at Cheryl Blair Foundation, which is our former First Lady in the UK. And we're humbled and honored to have her because it's a powerful network when we're talking about South African women connecting to UK women, and also not only UK women, the Cheryl Blair Foundation is across the globe. So you've got all women coming together through this powerful network. Is our investment, holding a director, and also as a member for the Circle of Global Businesswomen. Vino, we're really humbled. Can you take us through our dearest sister?
Thank you so much, Sister Cindy. I'm truly humbled to be on this platform. And I'd just like to share something with you ladies. A very prominent woman, Indra Nooy, she says, there's nothing like a concrete life plan to weigh you down. Because if you always have one eye on some future goal, stop paying attention to the job on hand. You miss opportunities that may arise, and you stay fixed on one path, even when a better, newer course might have opened up. We all know that Indra is an Indian business executive and the former chairperson of PepsiCo. She's constantly ranked amongst the world's 100 most powerful women. But like her, I've had the honor of walking amongst giants. A similar woman for me is Margaret Hirsch, Janine Meiberg, many others, and those amongst ourselves, you know. And these are the women that we need to attach ourselves to. Like Indra says, if you have one concrete goal and you look at that goal and you keep keeping your eye on that goal, you're going to drop somewhere along the line. And for me, I had to assess my situation. I had to assess what I'm doing in South Africa or what I'm doing within my organization and how can I pivot that. And I may have not gotten business from other parts of the world, but the interaction, connections that I've met along the way have been phenomenal. Because for me, it's opened doors, not only to my own business, but other women owned businesses that need those linkages. So I've managed to link women with other women across the globe that are doing similar or better things that they could learn and develop from that. I've had the opportunity to be an awardee at IWEC. You know, I had my award presented by the Princess of Jordan, prestigious award, and it was an amazing experience because at that event was over 3,000 businesswomen. And when we talk about businesses in South Africa, we are a bit closed up about businesses. Across the globe, people think outside the box. They give you perspectives you never thought of. Something small turns into a multi-million-dollar business. And I think that exposure for me has been phenomenal in terms of me being able to come back with that knowledge and share that knowledge. I now sit on a few boards internationally, in Delhi and in India specifically, where there's 2,000 women that gather and they have regular discussions, like, for instance, COVID. How is it affecting women? And we sit back in our little cubicles and we think we're the only one experiencing that. But when you hear the inspirational stories of how women have managed to pivot right at this point, you get a different perspective of how business is actually done. And it allows you the same opportunity to be able to pivot, to respec your business so that you can go on to the next level. For me, that has been amazing. That has been totally amazing. I could pick up the phone at any point and speak to a fellow businesswoman across the globe and say, you're doing this, how are you doing this? And there's consultation. And, you know, there is no competition, there's only collaboration. And for me, that's important because we're not in competition with each other. When we collaborate with each other, it makes such a difference. And for my fellow women that are listening across South Africa and abroad, know that collaboration takes you further. You know, like compliance. Compliance can only take you further, but collaboration is the key to doing business. So for me, I've in the peak of COVID, I've managed to, I think online, I've done over 30 online courses because I needed to expand my knowledge of things I didn't know, of new things. And if I had done business 5 years ago, the way I'm doing business now, I promise you I'd be drowning. We have to change the way we think. We cannot get up every single day, do the same thing we did 2 years ago and expect to reap benefits because the entire world has changed. So sitting back and doing the same thing, expecting a different result is not working anymore. We have to change, we have to pivot, and we need to educate ourselves. Education is so important. I've learned so many things that I'd never known 2 years ago. Like I said, online, I've done 30 courses. And we all have this excuse, we're too busy. It's actually just an excuse. We find the time to make it work. I run a few successful businesses, not because of the people I know, but because of the work that I put out. So my input determines my output. Spend time, you know, there's time is something that nobody's going to give it to you. Know your product. I think another one of the speakers said, you want to do business with your product. Know your product in and out. Nobody needs to question you. I remember very clearly sitting in a boardroom and waiting for my fellow project managers to walk in. And when they walked in, they were looking for a director of Allied Consulting Engineers. And I sat back and I waited for them to address me. And they still, like half an hour later, they're like, we're looking for a Mr. Govender. But you see, what happened is they stereotype you. They expect you to be a man in a male-dominated environment. But the minute they said that, I knew from that moment I had the upper edge. I knew that I knew my stuff. I knew what I was there for, and I knew what I had to give back to them. And I always remember, if you know your product, nobody can steal it from under your nose. You know your stuff. So ladies, I think for me, education is key. Know what you're doing. Collaboration. Do not be in competition with each other. It's only going to pull you down. And having the right mindset. So during these trying times, remember, be positive, stay positive, and keep an open mind, because there's so many businesses and opportunities that you can do if you think outside the box. Find your passion, because if you find what you do, if you love what you do, you never have to work a day in your life. Sister Cindy, that's all for me for now.
Powerful connotations that us as women would actually be a tool that would make change the world to be a better place. We must think locally and act globally. That's very important. Apology. It's all about, thinking locally, collaborations as well. Collaborations are key in the marketplace. There's the new, saying that collaboration is the new competition. And we need to collaborate so that we have a radical impact in the marketplace, so that we'll be able, because the Circle of Global Businesswomen is what Sister Veno is saying, it's a network of sisterhood. We are supporting each other, we're growing together in the marketplace, so that we'll be able to showcase our talent in the continent, in global markets at the same time. And also, I must actually thank your gentle giants. I've met Margaret Hirsch. She's a powerful woman. I've met President Myberg. She was one of our speakers in the last webinar, a gentle giant. I'm actually going to be a guest speaker in the next IWEC, international conference in November. They've extended an invite to me. So that's a power of collaboration, because if I didn't meet Veno, or if I didn't meet President Myberg, I know about International Women Entrepreneurship Challenge globally. But it's sisters that saw the potential in me. They're saying, Sister Cindy, let's take this to the global markets. And that's very important. Create a network of sisters that would actually force you to go in the marketplace with a radical impact in the marketplace. Now, I'm going to take it back to Germany so that we close it with South Korea. And I know my dearest sister, she's got a powerful presentation that will take us to the next level, is how we connect with women globally. I'm going to hand it over to our dearest sister in Germany, Vivian Blumenthal, just to take us through and on the solar strategy, but also training, because they're running a training academy for solar, which is based in Cape Town, and from Cape Town to Germany from Cape Town. So this is a very powerful network again, where we have our dearest sister connecting from Germany, but they have other offices in Cape Town. Thank you very much, Viv. Please take us through.
Thank you so much, Cindy, and thank you for inviting me. I already feel 100% inspired. And while Vino was talking, I was like, yes, definitely yes. So we basically did what you suggested, Vino. We used the network to build our business on that. Maybe I should explain a bit how it comes that I'm in Germany and the academy is in South Africa, and how that all started. So we are a training academy for solar photovoltaic installers. And my business partner and I, Antje, we have been doing training in Germany already. And then it was rather a coincidence that another partner that we were working with here said, let's go to South Africa. I like the country, I've seen it. Solar industry is not existing, so big chances for us. That was back in 2011. So he said, let's go there. They need training, training, we can do that together. So that's how it all started. And then 10 years later, we have academies not only in Cape Town, but in Johannesburg, in Port Elizabeth, in Pretoria, in Namibia, in Zimbabwe, and a few other countries. I won't bore you with all those. Yeah, and it's all based on collaboration. And I am based in Germany. I'm traveling between South Africa and Germany a lot. And South Africa kind of became a second home. I didn't move because I like Germany too much. It's my home, and I don't want to leave it behind. But luckily to how the world is now, it is possible, thanks to the internet and thanks to fast planes, to work on 2 continents. So yeah, we are working on the 2 continents, and it is possible because our business concept is built on the collaboration. So all our academies, we are managing them centrally so that we have the spirit of Antje and my vision in all the academies. But locally, we are supported by organizations who implement the trainings with us. So for example, in Cape Town, our partner there is an NGO as well. They do trainings for youth in other sectors like health and social, family building. They do actually IT training as well on programming. Super interesting. And we partnered with them because they have the training facilities, and we are realizing our trainings at their venue. And we both have invested into setting up the academy in Cape Town, and we are both collaborating on that, splitting the revenue from the training that we are getting, and adding value for the both of us. And that is a great concept that has worked very well for us over years. And recently we started to expand on that even further. So for our training academies, because all the courses are very hands-on, because in solar is quite a technical topic, and you need to climb on the roof, install the solar panels and things like that. So the training is very practical, or needs to be very practical. So we need components to install. So what we did is we just asked the manufacturers that are also in the countries and want to sell their products if they don't want to support us. So now we have a sponsorship program or partnerships with different manufacturers. And it's also, we are benefiting because we have our training centers well equipped, and they are benefiting because the participants are getting in touch with them. And it was a bit difficult for us at the beginning, that we thought, how can we do that to be a training academy and be neutral and not focus on a certain product and selling our soul to a certain manufacturer? But it is definitely possible. And I don't know if I'm surprised, but I'm definitely happy how collaborative the whole industry is, that all the manufacturers are fine knowing that their product will be next to the product of their competitors, and they just accept it because they say it is what it is, and there will always be competitors, but they rather want to collaborate and help us build that industry as a whole. And they know that the cake is big enough for all of them. And we are trying to, that spirit of collaboration, we always have that in mind. And we are also trying to connect our participants among each other so that they can learn from each other, pass on experiences. We have something that we call our alumni network, where all of the participants that took part in former trainings can get in touch with the current participants of the training courses. And we have a WhatsApp group. That's tech talk all day about settings on the inverter. How do you install this? How do you install that? But it's great. It's such a value added to the community and to the industry. And over the past 10 years, it's really impressive how the industry changed and how it grew and in what direction it went. And collaboration definitely makes a difference. And there were many people who did our training courses, started very small. They knew nothing. They came maybe from a different industry or just starting in the solar industry. They took our training, and we do short courses, by the way. So it's not that they got like university education in the solar field, but they took that piece of knowledge, they nurtured it further, they grew their knowledge further, they used the network. And now many of them are running very successful companies, and many of them grew a lot and can now make an impact, pass on their knowledge to others. And it's really great to see with how little you can start and then develop to something really great and make a huge impact. And it's, especially, I don't know if it's because we are women, my business partner and I, we are kind of in between this male-dominated industry. And I'm actually enjoying it. I think because we do training, it's not like I'm trying to take the space of a man. I don't have these fights that I think are very hard every day for women who are engineers wanting to really participate in an industry where the men are like, no, you can't. We dominate the space here. So training is always a bit in between. And it's really nice. In this way, I truly see the benefit of collaborating with men as well and seeing them as allies in the mission, actually, because they are realizing that things can work differently, and they are kind of realizing what benefit it can bring if like women are in the project and collaborating together. Because women do have a different view on things. So in a lot of situations, women would solve a problem differently, and not better necessarily, but definitely different and with another output than expected. So it is actually great to widen that perspective and to collaborate in this industry. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was very powerful. There were two things that you mentioned that are very powerful. I mean, you are in a male industry, and as women, you came through in the system not to change, but you actually worked very closely with men. And you're not taking up space for men, but you are actually assisting men to be better in the work that they are doing in terms of the training that you are offering. And this is a very powerful analysis, because I come from the energy space as well. There were certain instances where I used to be maybe in a meeting, I'm the only woman. I never felt intimidated, but I exploited that opportunity to the best because I know I'm the only woman. So when I speak, everybody would listen. And it was quite amazing because I created a rapport with all my male colleagues, and they looked at me as their sister, and I looked at them as their brother. So they supported me in everything that I was saying and in everything that I was proposing. So it's very important as well in the marketplace, not to look at men as competition, but to look at men as enablers to take us to our rightful positions in the marketplace. And let me tell you something, Cape Town, here we come. And we have a chapter in Cape Town for the sake of global business women. Our chairperson is Melma Holland. So we'll be looking at strategically partnering with you, Cape Town officers, and coming up with a program that we can implement in Cape Town, in Elizabeth, and across the country, and in Johannesburg. So we're looking forward to working very closely with you. I met your business partner in an energy conference. We just clicked, you know, that's the power of women. I just clicked with Angie, and we are today in an amazing global advising other women. What is collaboration, Viv? Because this is how the Circle of Global Business Women was founded on the basis of collaboration, working with women globally. And this is where we are today because of working with women and collaborating with women. And now I'm going to hand over to my dearest sister, who is an amazing woman, Sonia, who is based in South Korea. As you know, that South Korea, in terms of technology and digital environment, is also leading globally. And also, I know she's going to share one of the most powerful programs that she's running through trade, because I think one, Veno mentioned a very important thing. I think Viv, you covered as well, and Gamu and Anna. It's very important for us to pivot ourselves, but we need to manage change. If change says, Cindy, you can't go now and take a flight and go to France and you think that you're gonna do a presentation. Now change says, Cindy, connect to, Zoom link, speak to your client over Zoom, and make sure that your digital products are actually in the digital platform so that you maximize the opportunity of business, so that you'll be able to actually look at profit margins that are much better in your work environment or in your business as a woman-owned company. So I'm just going to hand over to you, our dearest sister Sonia, who is based in South Korea. This is an amazing platform. I mean, we talk to women in Germany, now we're connecting to South Korea through technology. That's the power of technology. I think that's a benefit that COVID has done for us, to have this powerful network digitally of powerful women that can advise women. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sister Cindy. Do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So thank you for this opportunity. I'm really, I'm as a researcher, I'm taking notes, and I found many opportunities for research, like for the factors that enable women to grow her business, and how to do the global market entry. It's really amazing to hear the success stories, and I will be hello.
I think we can hear you.
You can hear me?
I can.
Okay. So my name is Sonia. I am from Tunisia. I am from Africa. I came first here to Korea.
We can hear you.
Sorry, there's some issue with. Hello.
I'm sure everybody can still hear you.
So you hear me?
Yes,
Because
Sonia,
I
please
don't.
continue. We hear you.
Okay, okay.
Yes,
So,
yes.
okay. As I told,
We
I
hear
first
you.
came to Korea. Yeah, okay, that's
Yeah.
good. So I came first to Korea to study and to do my PhD in technology management, economics, and policy in SNU, Seoul National University, which is the best university in Korea, and it's one of the universities that giving a lot of outputs in the academia, with very, very innovative research and very innovative policy recommendation to implement new technology in developing countries and to make makers like follow some success stories in the implementation of new technology to have more development. So when I first came here, I start to study. I take 2 years, like from the beginning, I was just going to classes and go to lab. But after these 2 years, I realized, okay, I was in the government sector. I was a senior officer in the Tunisian government. And right now I'm research about, is it enough to make the change in my life and the change in the life of the people that surrounding me? And I start to look for new like perspectives, and I found that business and especially trading is one of the best perspective for women. But the problem, the trade and mainly and especially the international trading is a male domain. And few women are doing this kind of like business or entrepreneurship. And even if they are doing this, they fail because of a lot of problems. When I first entered this sector, I was like afraid, scared even, because it's really, really a male domain, because you go to the port, you do shipping, bill of loading. I don't know. It's a male domain. It's one of the, the domains that really makes like a lot of worries. You cannot sleep. Maybe the boat will fall, and maybe you will lose your money. A lot of issues. So you need to be very, very strong to survive. And this was the first challenge. It comes from myself. Like I'm worrying, and I say, why I'm doing this risk? So I'm researcher. I stay at university. I will be a teacher. I'm senior, and I'm mom at home. I have my children. So why I'm doing all this? And something inside me tell me, no, you go ahead. Don't stop. And another thing that I faced, because I started in 2020, it was coronavirus, it was COVID-19. So after I started, and I started with zero funds, I started with my own knowledge and with my own experience and with my network. My capital was my global network. And so I find myself at home in front of my laptop. I cannot go to my office. I cannot go like outside Korea, and I cannot do anything. So it was like very challenging to me to decide if I will stop or I will go ahead in my activities. And I decided to go ahead, even though I will lose time, I will lose a lot of things, but I decided to go ahead. And my only weapon was my laptop and my mobile. And even though the transactions, the shipment, everything was like stopped, I decided to take time to create my virtual trust. So I have network, but I need to create a trust around me and around my company. And I start to work on this. I didn't like lose time in waiting, like till shipping came back. And I start to do my strategy, and based on the context I'm in, and I mobilized my resources to achieve this. And in that case, I can, in this case, I can say that the year that I didn't lose time, and this year was really effective to build my trust, my virtual trust. And right now I'm working with the outputs of this trust. And right now I have many customers, like from many countries, based on the trust that I created online. Right now, my experience is not that like exciting in the meaning that in Korea, the context or the ecosystem here is encourage people to do business, especially to do trade. And you can find a lot of programs that enable you and to do the shift from government sector or from the academia sector or from whatever like sector to the business, or especially to the trade. So you can follow many programs, and around like it takes short time, but they give you really the great background to be a great trader. And there is no differences between male and female. So you can benefit from the same programs, from the same like funding, from the same advantages, male as female. So I have the chance to be here, and I have the chance to start from Korea, because also having a good product is also a trustable product. When you say made in Korea, you have trust on this product, so it will open you a lot of doors. Today, I want just to show some a general framework of research about female entrepreneurship in Africa, because I think that it's the time to do the shift from entrepreneurship to e-entrepreneurship, because COVID-19 did this paradigm shift. So we are not choosing to go to e-entrepreneurship, we are obliged to go to e-entrepreneurship, because one of the outputs of COVID-19 is the accelerated automation. And this accelerated automation makes women struggling, because women are working in many sectors that are affected by COVID-19, and they found themselves jobless, unemployed. In this case, they go to the entrepreneurship by necessity. So if we check the statistics right now, we will see that the number of women entrepreneurship in female entrepreneurship in Africa is rising. And at the same time, this is the paradox, the existing female entrepreneurs are struggling. They are shutting down their business, or they are struggling to survive. So with this paradox, I'm trying to assessing the impact of accelerated automation on female entrepreneurship during and post COVID-19 in Africa. And so, as I told, the impact of COVID-19 is like on the woman on itself, like more gender inequality, more social exclusion, more economic exclusion, more digitalization, more automation. And in this case, the automation has as like WUN, Women UN Organization, the World Forum, the World Economic Forum, the OECD, the WTO, all confirm that the automation, the acceleration of the automation has a very bad impact on women because they are not still ready to adopt new technology to do their entrepreneurship. And in this case, I checked the literature and I found that there's very big gaps in literature. So there's countries that are underrepresented. We don't know anything about them in Africa. And also there's countries that are they are not represented at all. So this is these two categories, we need to cover them in literature, and we need to make more research on this. And here I hope that the International Organization of Commerce, and it's like right now the president is African and she's a woman. So if they can encourage research, like we try to reduce like the gap in the research among these countries. So the problems that right now facing, that the women are more vulnerable to COVID-19 related social and economic effects, with which exposing structural inequalities across every spheres in Africa. The second problem we are facing right now, that COVID-19 has accelerated automation through transforming business, transaction, education, work environment, and social interaction. Also, because although the automation acceleration, women are reaping or they are left behind from the digital dividends. So the objectives right now is to assess the impact of accelerated automation resulted from COVID-19 on female entrepreneurship in Africa, pre-COVID-19, and also to propose a new model for post-COVID-19 for female entrepreneurship in Africa. So I summarized here the variables and the impact of COVID-19, and I found that we need to reduce three gaps, and we come up with an African model, which is like based on three components. A context, like we have 5 contexts: social, cultural, political, and economical. And also we have the resources, we have the strategies, and the environment. And we found that the context shape the resources and strategies. Like, for example, the need to, we found that there is a need to more or to lab the new alternative funding or financing ways, like crowdfunding, peer-to-peer, like lending, fintech, all these mechanisms for women in Africa. For the strategies, we need also to do to know how to do the shift from entrepreneurship to e-entrepreneurship, and to have more good outcomes or outputs from this model, like individual, more the female entrepreneur in Africa need to be more strong and have more self-esteem, and also for her organization or her company to make more growth and to make more benefits. So this is the general framework of my research, and I hope maybe with maybe this framework will be enhanced, and we can find some, like our finding can help to create or to elaborate a new business model for African women based on this shift from entrepreneurship to e-entrepreneurship. And thank you.
Merci beaucoup.
De rien, chérie.
This is a French-speaking country.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I'm starting.
Yeah, my
I've
English is
started-
not that one, but I'm trying to communicate. That's okay.
I've already started my French lessons, and soon, I'll be presenting in French.
Great. So we can communicate in French.
Yes,
You're welcome.
absolutely. Yes, thank you very much for this powerful presentation. If you can end your presentation, you stop sharing on the screen. We'll appreciate that, Sonia.
Sorry?
If you can stop sharing on the screen.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I love to be part of the Circle of Global Business Women. Women, you are on fire. Women, you are amazing. Women, you are great. Because what you're coming up with, Sonia, is very powerful. As a researcher, because it's very important to have researchers amongst ourselves in a women organization who will guide us to do right strategies in terms of empowering women, because research tells us that, Cindy, if you want to go in the marketplace, this is the only avenue that you cannot use, because if you use this avenue, you'll never be going to make it. Now, what I like about Sonia's approach in the marketplace is the e-entrepreneurship strategy. And not only that, because what you did is, if you look at the problem statement, it's vulnerability. All women are vulnerable. Accelerated automation. Women are scared of getting into these computers and using the computers to the benefit of their businesses. Those are the two problem statements globally. I mean, if you look at the World Economic Forum on Africa, I mean, I subscribe to the World Economic Forum articles every week, my dearest sister. What we have said, these are the discussions at the World Economic Forum level. How do we take women to the next level? How do we pivot women to the next level during COVID? And how do we give them skills that would actually deal with the problem statement that you have identified, which is vulnerability and accelerated automation. Accelerated automation is the most powerful tool in the marketplace. Maybe when you talk about e-entrepreneurship, some women global will not understand what we're talking about. Creating our own women Amazon. Let me put it that way. Am I right, Sonia, when I say that?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm working on this project, like African. In Australia, there's next time maybe I will present a very exciting experience in Australia. It's the the first women marketplace. It's an initiative from the Australian government that encouraging women to go globally through this marketplace. So the result of my research will be implicated in this project, like creating an African online marketplace like Alibaba Express or like Amazon or like eBay, something like this, but 100% for women. So I think, it's the next level of my research right now. I'm going step by step.
Absolutely. And the Circle of Global Business Women is behind you, because we want to create our own women African Amazon in the marketplace, where women would have their own, their own system where they can trade amongst each other, be it in the continent, be it globally. But we started in the African continent because we need to exploit the opportunities that are presenting themselves through the African Free Trade Agreement.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I think we can make just one last thing, but because I'm excited a lot with this kind of project. So we can link our Global Circle organization with the Women Initiative in Australia. Maybe we can do like a joint webinar. They explain and talk about their project and the results, the barriers, the challenges, all this, and we can avoid the problems they get, and for our project, and we can start from where they are right now. So
absolutely. You know what, Sonia, what you are mentioning, it's a way forward for the webinar. where we can take the best practice of women in Australia, we
Yes.
actually implement here in Africa, and,
Yeah.
and joint venture with Australian women, because we are women globally, and a network of intelligent and innovative women who are authentic in their endeavors, driving the global shift in terms of leadership of women in the marketplace, who
Yes.
are not in competition with men, who embrace men in the marketplace. So this is very powerful, Sister Sonia. So we're looking forward connecting to the women in Australia, and we look at that program and we see how we implement it in Africa, because that will advance accelerated automation. So when women see an automated, platform in Africa that is managed by women, they'll be much, comfortable coming into the platform. So it's for women, by women. Let us support the women on the ground, because this is going to actually assist us.
Women back women. Women back women.
Yes. Thank you very much for this powerful, submission, and we're so excited as the sector of global business women. And I think the paradigm shift, we are obliged to do it. So by creating this accelerated automation project, we'll be obliging women to follow suit. We'll be giving leadership to the women that are scared in the marketplace, who don't know how they're going to be able to exploit the opportunities, but we must create an enabling environment for them to thrive in a global network, in an African continent network, so that all of us in the marketplace, we can trade amongst each other and showcase our intelligence, but also and showcase our skills, and how can we use our skills to support each other in the continent and globally. And that's why the sector of global business women is existing, just to actually put such powerful skills in the marketplace for other women to actually use them. So with those words, I'd like to say this is really powerful for me, and I'm so excited. And also, if you look at the objectives of this webinar, was to actually increase the participation of women entrepreneurs and producers in global value chains, but also enjoy the greater economic benefit for participating in international trade, and also for women to participate in the Women Trade Protocol in terms of the Africa Free Trade Agreement. And I think when Sonia opened her statement in a presentation, she mentioned one important thing, that the trade environment is still male dominated. And even with her, it was like when she started getting into the space, she was so scared. But I think now she's no longer scared, because when you have a very big vision, that vision must scare you so that you can go for it. And I'm glad you've done that. So now let us actually bring more women on board, more women on board to understand trade, so that they'll be able to trade. But the outcomes as well for this, a webinar, was to look at sustainable economic growth and developmental, goals through our active participation as women in South Africa, in Africa, and also in global trade, and share best practices. Because what Sonia has done, she has shared a best practice of what Australian women are doing. What Vivian has done, she has shared best practices, how they founded their organization with the business partner, Angie, our dearest sister. What Vino has done, she has shared a best practice. How do we connect with women globally? And now she's serving in boards internationally, connecting to 2,000 women globally. And that's a best practice. And if you're sitting in this chair, you wonder, Vino, how did you do it? And those are the questions that we ask ourselves, or maybe the viewers are asking themselves. It's very possible to do it, because when you have a vision, there's nothing that will stop you to follow suit, to do and implement your vision. Can I tell you one thing in life? When you have a dream, the first thing that you conquer your fear is action. Take that step, and you'll never go back again. And if you're listening to the powerful women, they had a dream, they had a vision. What they did is they took the next step. And that next step that they took, they were so scared. but they never retreated, because when you have a very big vision, you're always going to be scared. And that keeps you awake. I mean, it's me, because when I founded the Circle of Global Business Women, I tell you, Sonia, I used to ask myself, what people are going to think? A global women organization in South Africa and in Africa. How, Cindy, are you going to connect to the global markets? And those are the questions that I used to ask myself, because knowing people, they'll ask me those questions because they want to know, to validate this dream. Is it really possible, Cindy? Can you do it? Yes. If I look at you today in this platform, indeed, it is possible. I mean, look at the gentle giants that are being displayed in this platform, connecting with women in South Korea. Sonia is from Tunisia, but she's based in South Korea. You know, and Vivian is in Germany, but you connected to Cape Town. Gamu is in Johannesburg. She's connected to the whole continent. Sis Anna is in Johannesburg, but connected to the globe. So that's a power of connections. So without wasting my time, I'll start with you, Vino. The last parting shots for this powerful webinar. What would you advise us to do for women to thrive in the global markets?
My parting shot, I would like to think that in order for women to thrive, we need to be authentic. We need to be ourselves. It's hard work being somebody else. Once you're yourself, you can actually penetrate those markets, because as I explained before, know your product. Likewise, know yourself, because it's difficult to try and put on this image that of who you're not. Once you know yourself, you know your product, you can go anywhere in the world and business becomes easier. Be authentic, be yourself, and remember to be kind always, because there's phenomenal women out there willing to lend a helping hand to you, but you need to be yourself as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Vino, for those powerful words. You know, be in competition with yourself. Look at them in the mirror. You are the competition, and run your race with dignity. That's what authenticity is all about. Don't look at what other women are doing. Look at who you are and what God has given you. You tap into your inner being. You tap into your space of the gift that God has given you. You know what? All of us were unique. All of us were gifted. But what normally happens in the marketplace, my gift and Vino's gift, when they come together, it's a spark, because we support each other in our initiative. So there's no need for us to compete. But what we do is we complement one another. So the complement spirit is very important for us as women to thrive in the marketplace. And then I'm going to throw it to my dearest sister Kamu. I know you're loaded.
Yes, I'm certainly loaded. Parting marks, just to complement what Vino said, is be curious. Be curious, equip yourself with as much information and knowledge as possible. In that curiosity, conversations with those around you, whether family members or business partners, or even strangers, depending on where you find yourself. Ensure that you find out who they are, what's their story. Along the process, you may note that their story does not relate to you, but it gives you an opportunity to equally reflect about what you want to achieve and the potential opportunities or challenges along the way. From a knowledge sharing perspective as well, there is so much information that is abundantly available, and thanks to technology, it allows us to access that information from anywhere and at any time. Whether it's research articles, whether there are capacity development activities, acquaint with those so that you can see where best do you go to get the kind of support that you may need to walk the journey. And lastly, also within the same breath of knowledge sharing, platforms such as the Circle of Global Business Women capitalize and misuse all of the networks and the contacts that you have. Continue to be attending such webinars, because while listening to the ladies now, I'm like, okay, so I'm going to check out Vivian because I'm also into renewables, and it's thanks to platforms like this. So be curious and ensure that you knowledge share as much as possible. And last point, the curiosity should not be limited to just the South African environment. Take time to see what's happening in Kenya. Take time to see what's happening in Ghana. Take time to see what's happening in Algeria. There could be spaces totally out of your comfort zone, but there's so much to learn from brothers and sisters across the continent. So I'll stop there for now, Cecily, because you know I can.
I know. Thank you very much, Sister Gamu, because myself and Sister Gamu always have some tea sessions, and it's quite inspiring because we support each other and we elevate each other in the marketplace. When I feel like, hey, Sister Gamu, you know, today my mind is somewhere else, and she will actually, you know, bring me back, you know, back to normal. And because, you know, when you're an entrepreneur and when you're creative, the things that you think, it's things that are abnormal to a normal person. I'm sorry to say that. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, because it's only you that are thinking those things. But in reality, to actually implement those, it takes a lot of adrenaline to come out of your system and push it hard. So being curious, and I'm that kind of a person who does a lot of research. You know what Sis Gamu says? At times when somebody calls me and I don't know this person, but I just find it so, you know, amazing. The person knows me very well and my background, and I'm like, where does this person know me from? And then I will go back and Google this person to understand the background. Maybe this person met me somewhere, because that's curiosity, because you want to make the right move. You want to understand, because that's very important in business as well, to be very extremely curious. Curiosity is an inner spiritual intelligence insight. It's very important to have that, so that you'll be guided by the inner being of yourself to actually rise above the board in the marketplace. Now I'm going to hand over to Sister Anna, 2 parting shots. Okay, I'm going to hand over to Vivian. Viv, give us the last 2 parting shots.
Thank you. Well, like a tip I want to share that we found out in our company that works very well is focus on what you're good at. And that sounds very simple, but it is not, because when you're just starting out, you don't know. I mean, it happens. You study something, and then later when you're in the job, you realize, no, I'm not that person actually. I enjoy another part of the job more. So focus on that. Pick what you're good at and focus on that. And if in the company, and that's actually the reason why we are 2 people in the company, Antje and I, because she is the manager, she does the financing stuff, and I'm the one like on the technical side, focusing on the content, the development. That is what I'm good at. And we embrace that in the company and we focus on that. And also, in general, we noticed we can do training, and along the way you get more ideas, you get people tell you what to do, you see how the market develops, you're like, oh yes, I should catch up, there's an opportunity, I should get that. But take the time in between to reconsider, is that a good idea? Is that something where I should shift my focus on, or would it bring me further if I stick to what I'm doing, focus on what I'm good at, and then pursuing that goal? And for us, that definitely worked. I think for everybody, it will be different. There's no, like, you can't copy paste that concept. But that is a question that we ask ourselves along the development. And it has brought us quite far.
Well, this is very powerful, because the pillar of all the parting shots of women today, it's authenticity. Because what Viv says, focus on what you're good at. That's authenticity. That's being original. Are you not fake? You're not a copycat. You are who you are. in the marketplace and you go and demonstrate that skill. And what Vino said, it says that it's so draining to be somebody else. But when you are you in the marketplace, you do wonders. And my dear sister, Sonia. Sonia, please unmute. Unmute, Sonia.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you.
I told that I prefer keeping my researcher hat than my entrepreneur hat. Why? Because like for women entrepreneur in Africa or the female entrepreneurship in Africa, there's many gaps, like in research and in policy. And also, I think international organizations, donors, NGOs, all these like stakeholders need to have more insight on women entrepreneurs. Why? Because, for example, all the majority of research and reports focusing on female entrepreneurship in Africa that are acting in small businesses, like in classic business, in traditional like retail, something like this. And they are missing the female entrepreneurship with high potential. So, because if we focus in these high potential entrepreneurship sectors, like owned by or led by female, we will guarantee more female will be employed, because women in general, women hire women. So if these donors and international organizations, NGOs focus in mechanism to help these like high potential women to take their business to the next level, it will be, I think, one of the good policy recommendations I think that I can do.
Wow, thank you very much, my dearest sister, Sonia. The researcher cap comes up very strongly in you. we really appreciate that, because we need powerful researchers like you in the marketplace. And we always acknowledge that there's nothing that governments, that companies can do without research to take direction in the next strategy that they want to embark on in the society or in the company. So research forms part of any company, of any government globally. So we really appreciate you. We really acknowledge your presence, amongst us as the Circle of Global Business Women. And one project that will be coming out of this webinar is to speak to the Australian women through you, our dearest sister, and see how do we take our women Amazon to the next level in the continent and bring on women on board in terms of accelerated automation, because that is the future during and post-COVID, so that after COVID, we are thriving in accelerated automation. And we're obliged to change, by the way, because we're part of the global village, all of us globally, in the countries that we're speaking from. So it's very important to connect ourselves, because what COVID has taught me, COVID doesn't have borders. And hence we are here today, connecting to Germany, connecting to South Korea, connecting to Cape Town, connecting to, in the African continent, to all our viewers that are actually watching us at this point in time, globally so. So we are connecting with them, understanding that the pandemic doesn't have borders, and it has brought us as women together to come up with solutions. And how do we pivot ourselves with researchers like Sister Sonia in our midst as the Circle of Global Business Women, so that we'll be able to give and impart knowledge to our women across the globe, so that they can be better, women entrepreneurs, but also run sustainable companies that will feed their families, that will feed their communities, that will feed the nation. So with those words, I'd like to say thank you very much for this powerful Women in Trade webinar. Before I say or sign off and thank you. I've got 2 or 3, slots that I just want to showcase with our IT person to actually assist us to screen share and the partnerships and international trade relationships that we have with other strategic partners globally. Thank you very much. The first one is on Saturday. I'm actually speaking in an International World SMME Day, which is actually facilitated by the Global Council for Promotion of International Trade. I'm going to be a guest speaker. I'm humbled and honored and looking forward to this platform and see how do we pivot again, women SMMEs to actually come up strongly globally in this powerful SME Day by the Global Council for Promotion and International Trade, but also looking at branding, women in the marketplace so that they access those opportunities and the collaboration in terms of their domestic markets and international markets. And the second one, Cliff, is the International Women's Entrepreneurship Foundation, which is, I'm going to be again a guest speaker through our partnership. It's the export market with the International Chamber of Commerce, where they've actually asked us as the Circle of Global Business Women to forward women that wants to actually do export and import certification, because this is very important. If you don't understand what is export and import, you won't be able to trade. So training of our women is very important so that they'll be able to understand the do's and don'ts. And the last one is the International Women Entrepreneurship Network, Entrepreneurship Challenge Foundation. We've got our partnership with President Maybeck in Cape Town. We have a partnership with the Cape Chamber of Commerce. I've been invited to be a guest speaker in their Global Women Entrepreneurship Conference in November. So these are the networks that have been created by other women, not me as the president. So this is the impact of global, partnerships, and how do we connect with women together so that we can take ourselves to the next level. I'd want to salute the women in the Circle of Global Business Women that have taken the circle to the next level. I mean, I can speak to you about Sister Gamu and all our dearest sisters, Vivian, Anna, and Sonia, who are in this network, and Vino, who is also in this network, and the previous speakers as well, to say I salute and honor you as this is our last virtual webinar as the Circle of Global Business Women. Just celebrating ourselves, celebrating the Circle of Global Business Women, because this is our birth month, because we were born on the 17th of June. And the only way, hence with those words, I'd like to say thank you very much to all that have connected globally, who are sitting in their comfort of their homes, who are sitting in the comfort of their offices. We're humbled and honored. And by the way, keep social distancing, wash your hands, sanitize, wear your mask as the right thing to do to protect yourself and your families globally, so that we can pivot, the pandemic, and still we meet again after the pandemic and be great gentle giants, because the pandemic has made us to be stronger. I would like to thank our sponsor, the French Embassy, our strategic partner in terms of implementing our programs, the French Chamber of Commerce. We're really humbled and honored for the opportunity that you've given us as women globally to showcase our skill and speak to one another. And you've made sectors, our provincial chairs, our country chairs, we salute and honor you. Our strategic partners, we salute and honor you. Thank you very much. Keep safe and be safe. Thank you. God bless you. Ciao. Thank you.
Thank you so much.